Stalingrad in the winter of 1942-43 is not just a point on a map, it is a condition that settles into the lungs and stays there. The name becomes human weather, cold that feels intelligent, hunger that feels methodical, fear that becomes part of the daily schedule. The battle grows out of Hitler's 1942 push toward the south, oil, the Volga, and the belief that one more blow could break the Soviet Union. Stalingrad becomes both symbol and supply line, a place Germany thinks must fall so the whole front can breathe. By late summer, the city is hammered from the air, and the ruins begin before the street fighting reaches its worst. What had been homes, warehouses, and factories becomes shattered cover and rubble that swallows plans. The city turns into a maze where visibility is short and certainty shorter. A stairwell can be a border. A cellar can be a fortress. A building taken is not a building held, because the defender can be behind you, under you, or inside the walls you think are empty. Soviet defense clings to the west bank of the Volga, sometimes measured in meters, not miles. Reinforcements and supplies cross under shell fire, and the river becomes lifeline, boundary, and danger in the same breath. The factory districts become names that feel like curses. Red October, Barricade, the tractor factory. These are not just targets. They are landscapes of steel and dust where every corner can kill and every hallway can become a trap. The fighting becomes what soldiers describe as rat war, close, constant, exhausting, and personal. Rifles and grenades matter, but so do footsteps, whispers, and the sudden scrape of a boot in the dark. For defenders, ruins can be protection. A broken wall becomes a shield, and a basement becomes a refuge. But shelter is never complete, and the wind finds every crack like it has a mind of its own. Cold is constant and intimate, inside boots, inside sleeves, inside breath. Fingers stiffen, toes go numb, and the body spends itself just trying to stay functional before it can even think about courage. Hunger narrows the world until food becomes thought itself, and a crust of bread becomes a full conversation. A warm drink becomes a dream that feels personal, almost cruel, because it is close enough to imagine and far enough to suffer. Logistics decides what bravery cannot: fuel, ammunition, medical supplies, and the simple ability to move. When supply breaks down, machines become dead metal, and even a victory feels heavy because it cannot be sustained. In November 1942, the turning point hits like a door slamming. Operation Uranus strikes the weaker Axis flanks around the city. The German Sixth Army is encircled, and time stops feeling like a clock and starts feeling like a tightening fist. Inside the pocket, days become thicker and slower. Less food, less fuel, less heat, less hope. The mind begins bargaining with reality. One more hour, one more night, one more small promise that the body can keep. Outside the pocket, relief attempts raise hope and then break it, and the airlift cannot deliver enough to feed an army. Promises turn into numbers that do not add up, and winter punishes every lie with immediate pain. Orders harden into stubbornness: hold the line, hold the city, hold the myth. But winter does not care about orders, and hunger does not negotiate, it only counts down. Fear becomes ordinary, not an explosion, but a steady pressure that sits in the chest. Sleep comes in fragments, and waking feels like being watched by the dark, as if the ruin itself is listening. By January 1943, Soviet pressure tightens, and collapse arrives in stages, not in one dramatic moment. Positions that felt secure become exposed, and the city keeps shrinking around the living until there is almost nowhere left to be. Stalingrad ends on paper with surrender, but it lives on as a warning about what war can turn into when pride meets winter and supply fails. Remembering it responsibly means resisting spectacle, because the true horror is how weather, hunger, and time become weapons against the human body.